Hey there, do you want to have a mob farm during the new update 1.21.1, the Trials and Tribulation update? Well, here's a video that I created about how I found a couple of guides and ways of making a modern mob farmer. Now, there's a lot of videos out there that's already doing this, but I decided to make one myself, kind of following the same tropes that they did and adding in a little bit of my own. Now, let me correct myself. None of this is any of my ideas. A lot of other people came up with this, but I decided to make an updated video about it since, there is a new update and there's not a lot of videos explaining as to why these mob farmers are either so high in the air or why they're built the way they are. But this video, I'm going to be explaining how to do that and what they're made for and why. So, the first thing you want to start with is, I would recommend getting an elytra. An elytra, some rockets. You don't have to be in creative, but if you want to get a mob farm, it's not really much of an early game type of thing, but you could probably manage without an elytra. An elytra makes it a lot more easier, say if you fall, because the mob farm is going to be over 170 blocks up in the air. The reasoning why is because how mobs spawn. But next, you're going to need 64 plus 45 scaffolding, 2 chests, 4 hoppers, 2 water buckets, 4 campfires. It doesn't need to be soul, it could be any. 64 torches or 6 torches, it doesn't matter. A stack of trapdoors and 32 carpets. Now you could grab a ton of slabs and normal bricks for design and decoration, but they're not recommended. The one thing that is mostly recommended is the amount of blocks. You will need 17 blocks. Now, the reason for 17 stacks of blocks is because it's going to require a lot of blocks to build this, but 17 stacks is the prime amount for a single level mob farmer. I will explain further into that once we get to the multiple levels, but for now, we're just going to be worrying about the main and base level. Now, when you want to create this, you want to be over a ocean biome. You could check that by pressing F3 and look at the biomes. It will say ocean. It could be deep ocean, lukewarm ocean, any type of ocean. The reasoning why is because mobs spawn really far underneath the ocean where the caves and caverns are, and you don't have to worry about them spawning on land. But once you're over the ocean, place a lily pad, go underneath it, place a block, and then place all the scaffolding that you are required to have, which is about 100 blocks. Once you do that, you reach Y172. You can check that by pressing F3. After doing that, build a 4x8 base. Just 4 blocks by 8. There you go, and you got your base. Next thing you want to move on to is the collection system. Place down 2 chests and then your 4 hoppers linking into the chests. After you do that, surround it with 6 blocks rising upwards. You could place the campfires now or later, or even if you don't want the campfires, you can place carpets, but further, we'll explain that later on. But you also do want to have a shovel. It doesn't matter what type of shovel. I got a wooden shovel just to prove it, and also a flint and steel, just if you want to ignite the campfires or not. Now you will be moving on to the block height. So from the chest, build 22 blocks up. That doesn't mean 22 blocks above the chest, but from the chest, 22 blocks up. The reasoning why is because the mobs are going to fall down onto those campfires and have 1 heart left. Anything more than 22 blocks is instant death. Anything less than 22 blocks, they're going to have more health. Now, a thing I want to note is that you are going to mess up once or twice, like I did in this video. I completely forgot how many blocks I built up. Just use your water bucket, do what I do, and just go back down and count them. It doesn't matter, you have enough time in the world to do this, as the mobs are not going to spawn in just yet. That's why I also recommend having the elytra. But continue building 22 blocks up. Now once you get to 22 blocks up, you'll be at 194 in the Y level, and what you're seeing me do here is place down blackstone. You are not required to place down blackstone or any other stone in those corners. They could be empty. But after that, build 7 blocks out, which is 8 in total, a 2x8 path from the hole on every side. Now, while Mini-Me is building this, I want to explain, if you see me place blackstone, those are decorational. You do not need any of the blackstone. You do not need to fill in the spaces that I put blackstone in. All you need to do is all the andesite that I have been placing. I just have blackstone because it makes it look a lot nicer. After you do that, build a 22 block tall wall around all the paths. You do not need to fill the corners. I just did it because, yet again, it's for decoration. You could just leave them blank or use andesite. You could do whatever you want. Once you reach this point, build out the floors. They're going to be 8x8, including the wall blocks that you have built. Build them out just like I do on every corner. Yet again, you do not need to fill any of the spots that I put the blackstone in. I'm doing it for decoration. Once you've done that, make an infinite water source. Use any blocks like the dirt, slabs, anything that you want. Place the 2 water buckets, fill them back up, and then place water at the very ends of the aisles on every side. Make sure both of the blocks are filled with water. If not, the mobs will not fall properly. But once you do that, you can tell that you did it properly because none of the water is spilling over the edge. Now after that, start placing trapdoors onto the top side of the blocks on the walls of the aisles on every side. This will take 64 blocks if you've done it properly. If you have more or if you have less, then that means you're building it incorrectly, and you could probably tell by how the water is looking. After doing that, grab your carpet and start building how I do. Leave 2 spaces between every piece of carpet. This is so spiders do not spawn. Spiders ruin your mob farms. If you want a spider farmer, look up specific videos on that, but they're kind of really difficult to manage and maintain because they always get themselves trapped in the corners and they take up mob count. Now with that done, after that, build a 2 block tall wall around the entire building. This time, the blackstone that you see me placing at the middle, you do want to fill those in. You do not want any gaps in your walls. Either do the decorational block of choice or the andesite. It does not matter. It just needs to be filled. Yet again, do not copy the slabs if you do not want slabs. But now, you want to create your roof. Now this one, it's going to be a bit time-taking because it's a roof, but you're going to make mistakes, you're going to place blocks, it doesn't matter. You can break them, pick them up. If they go down the well, you could go down the well and collect them. Just be safe. If you open the trapdoors now and don't notice it and you fall down, you're going to fall and lose a lot of health. With that done, it should be completely black in there. Now, open up every single trapdoor. Do not leave a single one left closed because mobs can get stuck and they will not fall. Once they've done that, make access onto the roof so you can start placing your torches. The torches on the roof are very important. You want to make sure there's torches on the roof in a specific way, 6 blocks out from the corners, as I'm doing it right here. The reasoning as to why these are important is because you do not want mobs spawning on the roof and taking up the mob count, because you will never see them. They're just going to be on top of the roof, and you're going to be getting a decrease in mob count as they're supposed to be spawning in and falling down the well. From that, you are done. You could fly on down and make sure that this is a 1 block tall or width viewpoint. If it's a block and a half, they can see you, a creeper will explode and break everything. Make sure it's only 1 block and they cannot see you. But at this point, the mobs are already spawning in. Your mob spawner is working off the bat. With that set in mind, you could sit here and start farming immediately. Either if you want experience, just start hacking at them with a sword. It could be netherite, diamond, gold, any type of sword. Because the mobs are already going to be at 1 heart. If you just start hacking away at them, you get your XP. Now if you want to go AFK and only get items, you could grab your flint and steel and light the campfires, killing the mobs the second they fall down, which the hoppers will collect all their items and dispense them into the chests. All you have to be doing is sit around as the campfires are going. Yet again, like I said in the beginning, they do not need to be soul sand campfires. They could just be normal campfires. The campfires are only just to collect while AFK. If you don't plan on AFK farming just for items, then you can remove the campfires and put carpets in. It really does not matter. After you do that, after everything, grab your torches. These are the last 2 remaining torches from the 6. Place them right there on the sides. You do not want creepers spawning in and blowing up as you come back to the area to farm anymore, because that's what will happen. Due to it being a dark area, mobs can spawn right on that patio and kill you or explode. Now you can remove 2 blocks from all sides. Do not do more than 2, just only 2 blocks from the sides. And you can collect and kill mobs from every side using your sweep ability with the swords and kill more at the same time. Now just sitting here for about a minute, I already got up to level 11. But now at this point, I'm going to be adding in extra levels. I think it's a bit too slow with mobs with 1 level, but I'm going to add in extra levels. If you want to see how I did that, I put it at the end, but this is what it looks like with 4 levels. Now you don't need 4, you could go 2, you could go 3, you could go all the way up to 10. But there is of course a mob limit, so 10's really not that practical, you're just wasting blocks. I say 3 is the best. I did 4 in the video just to show that you can do as many as you want. Like I said, if you want to know how to do that exactly, go to the very end of the video where I show the entire clip of me building it in creative, and you will see exactly how to do it. But you want to make sure to check if it's properly done. You want to make sure your trapdoors are open, the mobs are going in, no spiders are spawning. And as you can see, mine's doing perfectly fine. Creepers, skeletons are falling in because of the trapdoors, and no spiders are spawning. With that, if I just sit here and start hacking away at them, you can see I'm already collecting a lot of XP with just these additional levels. But what about if we wait 5 minutes? After waiting 5 minutes, you will notice that the mobs will start going to the corners of every campfire or carpet that you place down. They start coagulating together. That's how you know that your mob farm's kind of getting close to reaching its limit, and you could go in and kill them and collect a lot of XP. With just that, I already collected 4 levels, and you can continue on going. At this point, you could start building a storage area because you're going to be collecting a lot of items. And the main items that you really want to collect is gunpowder for the rockets or even TNT. I use glow item frames because you're going to be out here during the night, more than likely. And it's much more easier to see them, but it doesn't matter what you do with your storage area. You could build it whatever way you want. Now, what I recommend is having looting 3 and mending on whatever sword while farming this, because it gives you a lot more XP, a lot more items, and the mending repairs your sword instantly. You could sit here with an auto clicker on, want to AFK, just light them and sit there watching the chests. And like I said earlier, if you don't want campfires, you could just place carpets down. Just make sure to put a slab up above, because if the mobs are able to see you, they will blow up or kill you or attempt to. You gotta make sure you have slabs if you don't have campfires. With that said, the only way you can collect your experience is if you crouch up onto the chest directly. That's why I recommend the campfires more. But with all that said and done, that is how you create an XP mob farm. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please do like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to see. I'm posting this on my main channel. Of course, that's where you're seeing it. But that is how you create it. Now, if you want to see how I created the extra levels, like I said before, do wait until the end of this clip and you will see, without any speed up or anything of the sort, how I created it in creative mode. It's the same as the first level. Just make sure that they're all the same exact. If there's any type of deviation or difference, there's going to be a deviation or difference with the mob count. But let me explain some things while we're watching this. So the reasoning that the mob farm is extremely high in the air is because, like I said in the beginning, you want to be over an ocean. Mobs do not spawn on the surface of the ocean. They do not spawn in the water unless they're drowned. But since you're so high up, they won't be spawning in, and there's not a lot of cave systems underneath the ocean. With that said in mind, since it's so high up, it is loading in chunks higher than lower. The more higher you are, the more mobs will spawn in. So do not build this next to your base on ground level. You could build it up in the air, right above your base if it's in the plains or the mountains or whatever whatnot. But the ocean is the best place to do it. That's why I recommend an elytra. With that said in mind, let's move on to the spiders. The reason that spiders don't spawn in with carpets is because the carpets kind of hindrance their spawn size area, which requires a lot of room. And the reason why spiders are not allowed inside mob farms is because they kind of go into the corners and they take up mob count and they don't go down the water. They're really buggy, so just completely removing spiders makes the job a lot more easier. You do get witches spawn in, but you do not get endermen because it is a 2-block tall height, and also due to the water, they would just teleport out or teleport to a different level, and it's a repeating system. The reason with the trapdoors is because mobs walk over trapdoors. Mobs believe trapdoors are blocks, so they walk over them and fall. Do not put fences, because if you put fences, mobs will see that it's an edge and will not fall over, and you'll just have mobs on levels just staying there forever. Not a great way of a mob farm. Another thing is you do not want any lights, windows, or anything of the sort on the walls or inside of the farm, because that will stop mobs from spawning. Of course, from what I've seen of different videos, people use tinted glass. I haven't experienced with it. You could probably find out, do some research and see if tinted glass does not hindrance the spawn rate or the spawnability of mobs and use it as the walls so you can see how many mobs are spawning in, how many mobs are falling. It will probably work, but I don't know if it's exactly the best idea, especially with creepers, because if creepers are able to see through glass, they will blow up. I don't know if that's true. I've heard of it, but if you do your research and you find out that they do work, then go right on ahead and let me know inside the comments. One and last final note is my reason of recommendation of the elytra. As I said, you're not going to be building this off the start of the game. It is mostly recommended that you have an elytra because if you fall while building this, you're going to have to go up the entire scaffolding or water or whatever whatnot, which is time consuming. Or say if you just fall and then you want to immediately get back up to the platform, you have an elytra to do it. If not, it's going to be time consuming. You're going to have to use a lot of dirt blocks just to get back up to the top if you're in the middle of adding more levels or even just building it straightforward. So elytras do help a lot, but yet again, you do not need an elytra to do it. But with all that said in mind, that is how you create a mob farm in version 1.21.1. Sorry, I lagged right there. This will work for the current version and possible future versions, as so far as I know. With that said in mind, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, anything, drop them down below. I'd love to read them. I'd love to reach out. And that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you enjoy the creative blocking video. Okay, I'm done yapping. Have a good day.